This oak tree is just loaded with acorns. Look at all these. You know what that means? We are in for a hard winter. How many times have you heard that? I've been hearing that ever since I was a young kid. One thing I have found to hold true, when we do have a heavy acorn crop, a lot of times we don't have a hard winter, but sometimes we do, which I think means oak trees are just about as reliable at predicting long-term weather as long-term forecasters are, which I have found to be not very reliable. Of course, it's a fun idea to think oak trees could somehow have some kind of ability to predict the future. But I've always thought that was a silly idea. How could an oak tree possibly know the future? Maybe oak trees are smarter than I give them credit for, but I've been observing nature and the weather most of my life, and I have not noticed any correlation between heavy acorn crops and future weather. Sometimes we do have a hard winter after a big acorn crop, sometimes we don't. Most of the searching I've done on the subject online confirms what I'm saying, except for a certain publication well known for carrying on old folklore. But with all that said, there can be a correlation between acorn crops and the weather. If spring conditions are favorable for pollination and acorn development, that can lead to a heavy acorn crop. So acorns are more of an indicator of past weather than they are a predictor of future weather. Oak trees have these heavy masts every 2 to 5 years. It's believed this could be a reproductive strategy. On normal years, animals eat most of the acorns. But if every few years they produce so many acorns the animals can't eat them all, some of the acorns will be left over to germinate and continue the species. And oak trees can be variable in their acorn production. Sometimes some oak trees are producing a lot of acorns, whereas others are not. In this case, that one oak tree is having a heavy acorn crop, whereas these ones are not. They look normal. I have found that to be often the case. Doesn't give me a whole lot of confidence that these oak trees are going to be reliable for predicting the future. Some trees put on heavy seed crops when they are stressed. Douglas fir is known for that. The strategy there being, if the stressor kills them, they put out a bunch of seeds that will hopefully carry on their genes. I have not noticed oak trees to do that, not to say they don't, but it's a little bit of a fun fact for some trees. As far as oak trees having the ability to predict future weather, this kind of folklore can be fun to believe, but I think that's about all it is. But with that said, I've also been observing meteorologists for many years trying to do long-term weather predictions. I still don't think we have the technology to do that with any kind of reliability and accuracy. If you're looking for long-term weather forecasts, you might be just as well with the oak trees.